Hey everybody, how's it going? Brbteabreak here today for another World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth video. Today we're checking out the Affliction Warlock. If you want to check out other classes in Battle for Azeroth and the changes, check out my playlist below where I have most of the classes. So, Affliction Warlock has got the shaft a little bit here in the expansion for Battle for Azeroth. It's kind of all over the place. It's definitely more old school Warlock, which is a good thing in many ways, but I think it's lost some of its flair. It's definitely lost a lot of its utility, and even if it does good damage, it's lost a lot of its OP-ness, even if it does good damage. So, interesting to see what plays out here. Let's go over the changes first, gameplay-wise. Shadow Bolt is now your filler spell. Drain Soul is gone. So, when you're spamming spells between, your dots running, you'll be casting Shadow Bolts. Shadow Bolt does really good damage, actually. Kind of disturbingly good damage, really. Let's turn the pet off here. Ooh. And what's nice about it is it has a cast time, has a good animation to it. Doesn't give you a soul shard like Demonology, but it's pretty good, does some good damage, and yeah, it's a nice change in my opinion. One thing to note though with this being gone is that Drain Life is now back. Drain Life does really low damage compared to the Shadow Bolt, but it gives you obviously a lot of healing. So you have to actually choose now between healing and damage, which is really nice, and it should have been there anyway for, Affliction Warlock on live, but for whatever reason they decided to change it. But this is really good in my opinion, really nice. You also notice there I didn't run out of mana either. I was on full mana the whole time. That's because life tap is now gone. Mana is no longer an issue. It's literally impossible to go as Affliction Warlock, or a Warlock in general, because you have no utility spells that cost that much mana. You could spam Healthstone all day, you could spam Soulstone all day, it doesn't matter. Because the abilities, you can't spam them enough to actually have a high enough mana cost. Whereas something like a mage, Spell Steal has so much mana cost to it, you can actually run out of mana. So yeah, just hide the bar. What's even the point giving these spells mana cost anymore? I don't really understand. Anyway, another big thing is Doomguard and Infernal are now gone. So you have no big cooldown if you don't have the Grimoire of Service talent. And if you have the Grimoire of Service talent, well, it's now gone. So the big old pets are no longer a thing. Which means, as a Warlock, you have choices now. If you didn't know, all the Warlock pets do the exact same damage auto attack. So then you pick for the utility. So for example, Voidwalker has a really good activatable ability. It gives you 30% increased current health and maximum health, so it's a heal and a max health increase at the same time, which is really good. On top of that, the Warlock does AoE damage. So, okay, here we have an AoE pet, kind of the Infernal in some way, not as good obviously. That's pretty cool. Let's say you need an interrupt. Well, now you have your Fell Hunter. You still have the interrupt ability on your Fell Hunter, very powerful. And the Fell Hunter does the exact same damage even when it comes to the Shadow Bite as Succubus. So you can really pick whatever pet you want here, which is really cool. 355, 356, 1 damage less. Who even knows if that's actually a factor here? Auto attack damage is the same. Attack speeds seem the same. You can't really tell though because it doesn't say anything here, and there's no pet character panel either. One thing to note though is that the Imp now gives you 5% health for your whole raid actually, which is really powerful. This is only useful if you have no Priest, which is a bit unlikely realistically, but if you have no Priest you have 5% health here, and you still get the same damage as if you're using another pet. I would actually recommend in a raid either using Voidwalker, unlikely, but most likely Imp, because the Imp does the same damage as the Fell Hunter and the Succubus, and it has the range option, which means it will have more uptime. The Voidwalker might be a dungeon pet, no joke, with the AoE. It's pretty good damage. You probably need at least like 5 targets though, realistically, so maybe a bit unrealistic. So maybe it's a big AoE pools, but maybe we'll see the Voidwalker there in the MDI in the next expansion. We'll have to see. So another big change obviously is artifact weapons are gone. So for the Affliction Warlock that means Reap Soul is now gone, which doesn't really change too much of your gameplay because Reap Soul is pretty basic. You just keep the buff rolling. If there's lots of adds nearby, you have 100% uptime. If there's only one mob to hit, you have low uptime. Not that interesting, so I don't really care that's gone. Though it does make your traits, which you do currently have, and you kind of specialize in, obviously weaker, and obviously they're gone, so you have less of a niche, I guess you could say. At the same time, that means Soul Flame is now gone. Soul Flame is the golden trait which makes it so the mobs explode when they die if you've hit them. which is pretty massive for the Warlock realistically. It means your burst AoE has been severely nerfed, which is probably okay because it made no sense that the Warlock had massive burst AoE. So I don't really care this has gone, a good change realistically. Sinister Seeder's gone also. That's the trait that makes your City Corruption require less damage to proc, which I think it's fine also because Shadow Bolt hits so hard. You can kind of just press City Corruption, Shadow Bolt, and get the proc. At the same time, if you have Agony running, it's maybe an extra 0.2 seconds, 0.4 seconds you have to wait now, which is whatever, it's fine realistically. The big change, I guess, outside of that is Unstable Affliction now has the Contagion talent rolled into baseline. So Contagion Online gives you 15% increased damage while Unstable Affliction is active. Now you get 10% increased damage while it's active, but it's baseline, so that's really, really nice to have. It means you actually want to roll your Unstable Afflictions now. You don't want to spam them like you do currently. On live, you spam 3 of them, then do a Drain Soul. Now you actually want to just have one rolling the whole time, it feels like. So something like this would be an opener. You have your dots up, Unstable Affliction, and now wait for Unstable Affliction to get lower, and then we'll apply a new one. So maybe about now, probably a bit late actually. Apply a new one. One more Shadow Bolt here, then we'll apply a new Agony maybe. Have no time, it's can't really tell exactly where the refresh rates are out there. But yeah, you want to keep rolling these Unstable Afflictions. I don't know, because the thing is you can't really roll them anyway because you don't have enough soul shards per minute. Depends on your RNG, I guess. But it feels like, you know, any sort of AoE here will ruin you. I also just say City Corruption has a new animation now. City Corruption no longer spawns from you, it actually appears next to the monster. So actually I was too close there, but you saw that it's a brand new animation. We'll do it further away. You see it actually spawns on these dudes. So it's kind of cool. But yeah, it's definitely different. Also, I'm not sure if this is new, but the City Corruption and Agony have like a different animation on the monsters. It looks really nice. I don't know if this is new or I just never saw it, or Soul Flame always covered it up anyway, so yeah, that might be new. But City Corruption animation is definitely new. So let's talk about the actual talents now. Because Warlock has some pretty interesting stuff, but some stuff doesn't feel like it's really ready for live, or just ready for really to be launched. So, level 15, Shadow Embrace. Your Shadow Bolt now gives you a buff on the target only, so it's not AoE. It gives them a 3% increased damage taken up to 3 stacks, so 9%, for 10 seconds. So this is a 9% increased damage permanently if you're hitting one target pretty much. You can bounce these between multiple targets. It's very awkward. It takes a lot of ramp up time, which is the major factor in my opinion, but it is a possibility. Pretty good stuff there. Then we have Haunt. Haunt now is a 15-second cooldown, is 25 on the live servers. And what's good about this is that it's similar to Shadow Embrace, so it gives you 10% increased damage, not 9%, but it's 15-second cooldown and 15-second duration, which means there will be a downtime there of at least, in this case, 1.35 seconds, more likely maybe 2 because of GCD lock. So this is actually pretty interesting. The benefits of Haunt will be in target swap, where Shadow Embrace is only single target, like purely single target damage, or maybe a target you swap to that has a lot of HP, because Haunt actually resets if a target dies. So you could apply Haunt, spam your dot, the target dies pretty quickly, then go Haunt something else, which is pretty cool. The thing of Haunt also is that it's a filler spell in some ways. It does more damage than Shadow Bolt, has a lower cast time than Shadow Bolt, so instead of spamming Shadow Bolt, you can cast Haunt instead every 15 seconds, which isn't massive, but it is pretty cool in my opinion. Last but not least, the brand new talent, Death Bolt. Death Bolt is has same cast time as Shadow Bolt, has a pretty large cooldown, 25 seconds, and it does damage based on the remaining damage of your dots. So the thing with this is that it's probably really bad single target, and it's purely like a swapping talent, because if we're hitting a monster here, outside of the opener, when do we ever have all our dots active at maximum duration? Never. It doesn't actually happen. I probably should have picked the talent, it'd be nice to actually show it off the animation. Actually, we'll show off Haunt here, same animation as live from what I can tell. But yeah, good damage as you can see, does the same as live. Let's try and get this. Can we pick it up? Come on, game. Oh, I gotta wait for Haunt cooldown, crap. So the thing is, yeah, besides the opener, you now have all your dots applied at the exact same time, which means this is kind of awkward to use in my opinion. So something like this would be optimal, I guess. Something like Agony, Corruption, Unstable Affliction got the lowest duration, then Deathbolt. It looks cool. It did 1500 damage, but okay. So let's say we keep going. Let's say we keep going here. You can maybe do it now, possibly, but that's only because I refreshed all 3 of them. That normally wouldn't happen. Normally be on the ball with it. So you'd actually Unstable Affliction here, Corruption here. Maybe you could Deathbolt now, but Unstable Affliction, sorry, Agony's half done. So now I'm gonna reapply my Corruption, my Unstable Affliction, reapply my Agony, and what? Now do I Deathbolt? Like, now Corruption's already half off. Like, it's very awkward to use, besides the opener. And then the opener, you don't have max stacks of your Agony. So, unless... Okay, this is actually a good lineup here. So, maybe something like this. This is actually probably a good time to use it. Something like now. But, you know, it doesn't come up all the time. We just pick Haunt and have that utility all the time. Or pick Shadow Embrace and not even have to think about it. So, yeah. Interesting line. The thing is, they all increase your damage in some way. Though these two are a bit more interesting than Deathbolt in my opinion. Deathbolt just seems very clunky right now. And works inversely with something like Creeping Death, which makes your dots tick quicker. So, because it doesn't make your haste of your spell casting quicker. So, yeah, maybe for a full mastery build, possibly. But even then, meh. Anyway, level 30. Let's talk about Absolute Corruption. This has been nerfed. It's 25% increased damage on the live servers. Only 15% increased damage here, which doesn't really matter. That's just a numbers thing. At the end of the day, they can balance around, but it still has 100% uptime if you pick a talent, which is pretty cool. It doesn't change the dot of Deathbolt. You don't get a billion trillion damage. It only counts for the I think 18 of the base value, 14. So yeah, it doesn't really matter too much. Reef of Agony is the same. Death's Embrace used to be level 100, now it's level 30, and it's only 40%, whereas 50% on the live servers. This is okay. The thing with this line again is that it's increasing different things, and you can use these abilities in different ways. So they all increase single target kind of, beside Absolute Corruption, but they also all increase your AoE damage depending on the number of targets. So unlimited amount of targets, Absolute Corruption is definitely the best one here. Maybe 2 targets, 3 targets, Reef of Agony and Death's Embrace are very powerful. Single target, Death's Embrace and Reef of Agony are very powerful there, but maybe you want Execute here. So this line is cool, but I don't know. I guess it's in the right direction. They do want the AoE there where you can actually decide, but it feels like Absolute Corruption is completely useless on single target because like, unless the numbers are amazing for Corruption for some reason, or you're supposed to do so much more damage, you just will reapply Corruption anyway, because you have to move every so often in a fight. It's instant cast. It doesn't make much sense. We'll see how it plays out. Anyway, Demon Skin. Demon Skin has been nerfed. It's 1% healing per second on live, and also 20% max health. So it's halved, pretty much, for the health per second, and the max health is only reduced by 25%. Not that big of a deal. The thing is that no one picks Demon Skin on live, but now that you heal so much less, this actually might be a viable option. The thing with this talent also is that it's not a buff, because it only gives you your Soul Leech, which is already passive, which you can generally get a decent shield just by doing good damage, and unless there's constant damage in the raid, this doesn't really help you too much. So, yeah, maybe, like, I don't know. I don't really rate it that highly. Burning Rush is the same, still really overpowered. Dark Pact has been nerfed. It's only 250% here. 250% that is, where it's 400% on the live servers. Pretty massive nerf, realistically. But it's okay. The thing is, you have less survivability than the live servers, but you could run something like Sacrifice here and keep your Voidwalker pet out, and have the massive shield. We'll see. Survivability is definitely lower now for Affliction, so maybe Dark Pact will actually have to be a go-to talent. Next, let's go to the AoE line, quote-unquote. So the Seeds now hits only 1 extra target, not 2. So it's 3 targets on live, only 2 targets here, which is not that big of a deal. Realistically, the explosion damage of City Corruption is very minor, only 500-ish damage. We'll see here, we'll just do it now. So let's explode. 500, it doubles down, I guess, so you're losing 500 on multiple targets. So that kind of sucks in a way, but what can you do? You can't have everything in the game, Warlocks. Come on, you already do best DPS. Next can be best healer, best tank. So that's a bit of a nerf there. Phantom Singularity has been buffed. It does 25% healing now, where it's only 20% on the live servers, which is a nice little buff, I guess. I don't really know when you'd ever pick this, really. Maybe if Agony spawned every 40 seconds. I think it's a single target increase still. If that's the case, it could be kind of cool, but yeah. Then you have Soul Harvest, which makes no sense. Increase your damage you deal by 20%. Last 4 seconds, increase by 6 seconds for each target you have Agony on. So, this is an AoE talent, but it also increases your single target. The thing is here, actually, they nerfed the base value, I guess you could say, because the base value on live is much higher, I think. I think it's 12 seconds on live by default, and 4 seconds for each stack, where now it's 4 seconds by default, and 6 seconds per stack. So it means single target. If this was a single target purely fight, this would be the best one, but it'd be useless, really. It's 4 freaking seconds, who gives a shit, really? And it's on GCD, I'm assuming? Oh, it's actually not. Whoa, calm down, boys. So it's a 4-second increased damage buff. Isn't that major? So I think I'll actually let him get away with that. I guess the thing is here is the dots are different. So this is Corruption, this is actually a new ability to AoE, and this is Agony. The thing of Agony is that it's so awkward to apply. Like, okay, 36 seconds max, which would be then 4, you see 32, which is, what's that? That's not even maths there. It's like 5.5 you need. Like, 5.5 targets, whatever that is. That's not too hard to apply Agony on. It's more just annoying because... Okay, guys, here come the ads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I hit Soul Harvest. Like, I don't know. It's a little awkward. If it was Corruption, though, it'd probably be a little too OP. But we'll see how it plays out. But that's a good change in my opinion, actually having Soul Harvest not being single target and AoE there. Because it's single target, yeah, but it's only 10 seconds actually, because it's 6 seconds because you have one Affliction running, Agony running. But yeah, it's still probably the best one single target actually, yeah, when you think about it. 6 seconds or 10 seconds is pretty good. Add one more ad, that's, you know, that's 16 seconds. So yeah, pretty good talent. Probably should be nerfed. Or maybe, I don't know how you fix this. Soul Harvest is a good talent, but how do you fix it so it's on the AoE line, but isn't a single target increase? I don't know what you do there, but anyway. Actually, I forgot to mention Shadow Fury is now baseline. It's your AoE stun, and that means now it's the Dark Fury talent here is now a cooldown reduction, so you don't have to pick this anymore in Mythic Plus, which is really, really nice to have, just that utility all the time. Like, hey boys, you can't heal anymore, but have a baseline stun. That's pretty massive. I think baseline stuns now are only for AoE. Warlocks, Monks, I think even Warriors have to pick a cooldown there, and Demon Hunters. So I think it's 3 specs, and then I think, oh sorry, yeah, Shaman also to 4, and then Warriors you have a talent into it. So maybe 5 or 6 AoE stuns in total. Having a baseline one is amazing. Having a range baseline stun is even better. Only Shamans have that, and Shaman 1 is awkward. You have to like have a delay. Well, you have a cast time, which I think is a much better in my opinion, because you can't miss it then. So really good. Mortal Coil is the same. You just cast it, do lots of damage. Oh, sorry, no damage. It just heals you. I think it damages on the live server actually, doesn't it? It damages on the live server and heals you for a percentage. Let me just check this. No, just in caps on live. Okay. And last but certainly not least, Demonic Circle has been buffed. So Demonic Circle on live, you apply it and teleport with the same button, which means you need a macro that cancels your aura up here, which is really annoying to have. But now you actually have a teleport button separate. So this is 2 things. It saves you having to have a macro, which is really nice, but also it means you can put a new one down while your teleport is on cooldown. So this is actually a direct buff, or indirect buff really. So this is really, really good for Warlocks. It wasn't that big of a deal anyway to put a new one down, but it's just nice to have. Really, really cool, good to see, and I don't know why they changed it in Legion anyway. Now, level 90, my favourite talent here, Nightfall. Corruption damage has a chance to cause your next Shadow Bolt to do more damage and be instant. So it's Corruption, which means our AoE will actually be really good here. So if we do City Corruption here, apply dots to everybody, you'll see we get lots and lots of Nightfall procs. Nightfall is this AoE here, you can see here. Hits really hard. If we get a crit, I'll show you. You do some serious damage. Let's try and get an Unstable Affliction actually active also. Here we go, come on, let's hope for the crit. 2,000 damage for Shadow Bolt. Your Phyllis Bolt at 2,000 damage, what? It's pretty good. It's pretty cool. That's really nice. It's a really high proc rate, and it just feels really good. The thing is, you don't generate any soul shards with the Affliction Warlock, with Shadow Bolt, so it's nice, but not that nice. Maybe if this gave you a soul shard, Nightfall proc, but then your AoE would probably be too good. So, yeah, I don't know. It's nice having an instant cast Shadow Bolt, and having the increased damage there is nice also, but the thing is, you're probably going to stack Mastery, and Mastery only increases your dot damage, so you won't get increased damage here with your Shadow Bolt, which will likely fall off as the expansion goes on, or you get better gear, because right now we have, look how much crit we have like no Mastery, so yeah, probably will fall off later in the expansion, but maybe use it at the start. Now, Grimoire Sacrifice is now really good, because Grimoire Service is now gone. This is actually a viable option, nearly, because if you don't know, what happens here is you sacrifice your pet, and you get a buff, and the buff gives you just, sometimes you do more damage with your spells, 525 here, lasts for 1 hour. You still get to keep your command pet ability, so in this case here, we get a Purge. If we use a Void Walker, we get 30% health and healing. So we can sacrifice our pet here, do the same damage if we had a Fell Hunter pet out, and we get a 30% heal shield now, and let's say we press, you know, Unending Resolve on top of that, maybe we drain life a little bit, like, you're not dying as a Warlock still, if you play smart, I think. And look, this buff is so long, it's still active. It's a 30% increased health buff for 20 seconds. That might be the longest pseudo DR in the game. I can't think of, like, a health buff even that lasts that long. That's so powerful. It's really good. Obviously, means you need to pick this talent. But even then, if you were say using a Fell Hunter, let's say, you get the interrupt now on yourself, which is slightly worse because the thing is, if it's on yourself, you can't do it while casting. If I sacrifice my pet here, you see I can't with an interrupt 6. Oh, you can, but see it cancels what you're doing. Where on live, because the pet is separate to you, it doesn't happen. So if I unsacrifice my pet, I'll get summon it again, do I? Okay. And this has changed from when I last played Warlock on live. I assume it's the same as Hunter pets. For example, with BM Hunter or any Hunter spec currently on Alpha, you can use Heroism while you're casting. See, look, see, my pet did the cast while I was casting. So, I guess that sucks if you need to use Fell Hunter. But if you need survivability, it's not bad. But yeah, cool. Level 100 talent. So Soul Siphon is the same. Actually, no, I got nerfed slightly. It's, what, I have the notes here. Yeah, sorry, on live it's 60% healing, whereas only 30% here. So that's a massive nerf to the healing per second. It does work with Death Bolt. It does scale with Mastery also. I tested that, but it wasn't. Yeah, it appears now. It wasn't appearing before. Cool. I tested it the other day. It wasn't appearing. So yep, Siphon Life is still really good for having another dot. Probably necessary for Death Bolt builds, but the healing is much less now, but could still be really good. Soul Conduit has been nerfed also. 20% alive, 15% with this talent. I don't agree with this one actually, because the thing is, you generate so few soul shards anyway as an Affliction Warlock now, that having a higher proc rate would be better. I think maybe it should be like 30 to 40%, because it sucks. It's 15% also for Affliction, but Affliction gains a soul shard every single Shadow Bolt. So getting an extra one doesn't really matter too much, but getting an extra one as Affliction is mind-bogglingly powerful. It's amazing, because you get an extra Unstable Affliction, you get an extra City Corruption, where on Affliction you get, on Demonology you get one less cast of Shadow Bolt, which is whatever. This here could be 6+ seconds of saving time. So yeah, it should be buffed, I think. I don't know why it got nerfed. It's across the line 15% for all the specs, so I guess they just haven't thought about that maybe, but eh. And the new one here is Creeping Death. Your Agony, Corruption, Unstable Affliction deal their damage 15% faster. Actually, I guess you can't apply these together. This is really awkward, because the thing is, this actually makes it so you like cannot generate extra shards ever. So let's say we open up here. You can never actually really be. You can never gain shards because they fall out faster now. You can definitely feel it. Look at the numbers fall down here. Look at this. Oh, Agony fell off already. It's definitely a faster playstyle. It definitely feels like a more pure single target playstyle too. But it's definitely something. Definitely something to look out for. But you see here, I might run out of soul shards, depending on RNG. We actually might lose soul shards here. We're about to lose. We're gonna not have enough. Oh no, here we go. Got lucky there. Do we have Nightfall? Oh, we don't have any more. Well, we're out of soul shards now. Oh, we just dropped my Agony like an idiot. Hopefully, I don't have to apply new ones soon, and I have to apply like you can't keep it up anymore. So maybe 2-target cleave. Maybe. And on 2-target cleave, you probably want to have Unstable Affliction on both targets anyway. So like, what? What do you do? What do you do? This talent doesn't work right now. I personally feel like it doesn't work. Maybe 2-target cleave, you only Unstable Affliction 1. Maybe then it's better than applying it on both. I don't know exactly yet. You know, we can't test the numbers exactly right now, but it feels like a very awkward talent. It works for Unholy DK, because Unholy DK, applying it a dot doesn't affect your gameplay too much. It just costs you 1 rune. This one here, I literally can't. I want to press Unstable Affliction, but I can't. If it maybe increases the generation, I guess because Agonies tick faster, maybe the chance, I don't know. Maybe it evens out. It might even out realistically, because they do damage faster, which means, I guess, you get more ticks to this, but you saw just then it didn't really work out too well. Maybe it might be bugged behind, on the backside, behind the scenes, but I've never had a soul shard issue when I've played with Soul Conduit. When I've played with, well, I guess the thing is, that's it, you play with Soul Conduit, don't you? If you play with Soul Conduit, you're not going to have any issues at all. And if you play with Siphon's Life, well, you're dealing more damage anyway, so it doesn't matter if the dots tick faster. This just doesn't make sense. Actually, Siphon Life, is it only 1 target? For Siphon Life, I'll only need 1 target max. Maybe I'm crazy. Huh. I'm pretty sure it's only 1 target on live. Maybe I'm crazy? Well, I'm not too sure about that one. But yeah. So that is Affliction Warlock, guys. It has definitely got some big changes, some interesting changes. We'll see how it plays out. If I had to play Warlock, this would probably be my least wanted to play spec, I feel. Especially in Battle for Azeroth, when you have Demonology, and I'll show you Destruction tomorrow. Destruction is very fun also. But, you know, it's not terrible. I could play this if I had to. It's not like the Hunter. If I had to play Hunter, if I was playing Hunter, and I had to play BM, I would literally reroll. I would actually reroll it. I don't think it has enough going for it. This spec still has enough going for it, I feel, that I can play it in a raid to maximize my class. And I think that's okay, as long as it's playable. Obviously, we don't have all the Azeroth gear. They've changed how it works on the alpha now. For example, Heart of Azeroth isn't baseline. I had to make a new character because the target dummies were bugged out for ages and stuff. So yeah, Affliction is looking interesting. Talents maybe aren't there yet. Hopefully this is a new interesting talent here. What it could be, it sounds like maybe a proc or some sort of damage on top. It wouldn't be like you do more damage, it'd be like your corruption has a chance of exploding, because this is like a chance on proc, this is a chance on proc. So I hope, for balance reasons, I hope this is also some sort of proc. What can they do with this? Not too sure, but hopefully it's fun. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I actually want to say also, I'm sorry if the audio is weird or the visuals are weird. My monitor broke today, or yesterday really, and I have to use a big old TV, and I can barely see my character while looking at my action bar because it's so big. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.